Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my channel, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. Today we will talk about the pentatonic scale, and we will talk actually through all possible pentatonic scales, all possibilities, and in a way we have a really scientific theoretical lesson. But I hope, I think you will understand more and more as we go on the use of this whole kind of an approach. And there's a PDF down in the description below. You get all these pages of all the different pentatonic scales and some little explanations and a little bit like some pentatonic scales which I found in the repertoire, the more traditional repertoire, and there are just a few pentatonic scales. It's not like systematic in a way and not complete by any means. Just some scales which they are really in use in like traditional music around the globe, you can say. But it's actually more like a start. This idea. If you could just find much more, but many more pentatonics. But I'm. The question is what it will give to you if you know that pentatonic has that name and is used in that culture. I mean, at the end, you either you have to hear the music and understand the sound, or you have to. I mean, like these recordings, or you play that pentatonic and listen for yourself. How does it sound? Can I use it? Can I do something with that? And this kind of a stuff, this you can do like in a very systematic way here. In that when you have this PDF and you have all these different scales, and then you can really go in a systematic way and check them all out. And also downloading the PDF supports this channel, so this would be a really cool thing to do. Thanks. Okay. With some lessons here on Guitar Academia, we had this kind of an approach. I took this kind of an approach to really get like an overview, like all possibilities of something, and we get really deep into that 3-note structures, that we have 19 possible different 3-note structures, any three different notes together, and we had like 43 different 4-note structures. We have 6 intervals, 6 diads, minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, and the tritone or augmented fourth or diminished fifths, which is 6 because everything else will be just an inversion of these triads. So the fifth is an inversion of the fourth, so the sixth is an inversion of the third, and so on. Yeah, so we just have actually there are just 6 possible diads, or like 2 different notes. Intervals in a way, and of course you can always stack these notes in many different ways. You can space them in many different ways. You can play them melodically, you can play them harmonically, you can transpose them, but still it's this one structure you're dealing with. Okay, like a major triad, for example, you can play in many ways. You transpose it to A flat, to C, to E. It's still an E minor triad. Yeah. It's still a major triad you're dealing with, okay? And that's the idea, to really get the basic structures, get all possibilities, the whole complete set, so to speak, and then structure that into groups, families, that okay, when I'm searching for that kind of a sound, then I look there, or I have this structure, which other structures belong to that. Yeah, I mean, there are many ways you can then work with that, and also you can more easily find them back. If you have something and you have a sort of structure, you more quickly see, oh, okay, that structure belongs to that kind of a family, so I can go there, and maybe you have some exercises or some ideas just about that kind of a structure. So it's like a system, like a very systematic approach, you can say. And then you have a really nice shelf at the end where you can like very neatly put everything at its place. Yeah, that's a typical German thing, they say. And of course, this Guitar Academia is based in Berlin, in Germany. So okay. Anyway. Now, what I did, I first went to Wikipedia, not to Wikipedia, to Google, and just put in 12 notes, 5 out of 12 different notes, and then it was like an equation happened, and it said you have 792 possibilities. Yeah, if you have 12 notes and you just take 5 out of them, you have all these possibilities. But then you can think, okay, you can just divide them by 12, because every possibility has, of course, every structure has, of course, like 12 transpositions, or one form and 11 transpositions. So you can just divide the whole number by 12, and then you reach these 66. And this is a calculation, and then you just have a number, of course. So you're still like just, okay, I have 66. That might be also interesting because when I found out that there's just a limited number of 43 different 4-note structures, I was actually really surprised. I thought, wow, this is not this endless possibilities which I thought that there's so many possibilities of 4 different notes. No, they're actually 43, and you can structure them, and you can just practice them also, like in a systematic way. Yeah, just going through all of them. So you did the whole set in a way. And with 19 3-note structures, I mean, what's that? It's nothing, you know. I feel. Okay, but 66 pentatonic scales are quite a lot. So we have to get into that, and we have to find out, are they really like, can we group them, and is it really like all the same category of 5 notes? But anyway, let's go back to this number. One important thing also with pentatonic scales is that it's not possible to divide the octave in any symmetrical way into 5 parts. That's with our 12-tone equal temperament, this is definitely not possible. Because if this would be possible, some of these variations also of these pentatonic scales would be just the same. Yeah, starting from different notes. If you just take this mathematical approach, because like for example an augmented triad. An augmented triad is just repeating its structure every major third. So you might think, okay, I think this is already considered here. These repetitions in that larger number. Anyway, it's not that important. Really important it is musically that a pentatonic is not can't be like a symmetrical structure. 4 notes can be symmetrical. 3 notes, 2 notes, 6 notes, 8 notes, 9 notes, 10 notes. These can be symmetrical. Yeah, like 10 notes, you go like a chromatic scale, and then you leave out one note, and then you leave another note out a distance of a tritone. Then it's also a kind of a symmetrical division of the octave, and this goes also very much into this Messiaen scales. Yeah, they are really like sort of like in a symmetrical way, and you have a lot of notes there. So it's not only about like stacking up one interval and then the whole thing repeats. The tritone as a diet, the augmented triad as a triad, and 4 notes would be the diminished 7th chord, and 6 notes would be the whole tone scale. Yeah, and then you have to go to 12 notes, then it's like all notes, and then it's symmetrical, of course. But there are other versions of that. Yeah. When we talked about the 4-note structures, you maybe should go, if you do not really got this idea, you should go to this to the course on 4-note structures and the different ones where we also talked about like symmetric ways. Because then also, if you know this is symmetric, we also know on the guitar that we can just shift the position and then have the same notes as we had somewhere else, but in a kind of inverted way. So this gives us also a kind of information which can be important, or that we can have a certain pentatonic scale or like a certain structure which we also can sing very differently. So it's always good to check for like is that a symmetric structure? Then it will just repeat, and there are not so many versions of them, or not so many transpositions. Okay, so what did I do to come up with all these pentatonic scales? And I started with C, and then from C I wrote out all possibilities of 5 different notes, all starting with C. Yeah, like C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. Yeah, and then C, C sharp, D, D sharp, F, and so on. Yeah, and then all like in a very systematic way, of course. I mean, you have to go in a systematic way, otherwise you will just maybe forget a certain kind of combination or whatever. So and then when I had all these many pages of all these possibilities, and just why C, why I started with C, because I thought, okay, every structure you can transpose, and every structure you can transpose in a way that you have a C in it. Yeah, so I can just start with C and put all my possibilities of pentatonics which have a C, and by that I make sure that I actually end up with all possibilities. Yeah, so if I start to also write down all the possibilities which don't have a C, I mean it's just I need maybe a tree for paper. Anyway, so I started with C, all possibilities, and then I sat down and analyzed all these possibilities for, are they maybe just different modes of others? Yeah, so for example, the major pentatonic, C, D, E, G, A, the typical major pentatonic, like every pentatonic has 5 modes, of course. You can start with the first note, you can start with the second, fourth, third, fourth, fifth, and by doing that, you in the pentatonic field, you always get a new mode. It's always a different mode. It will never repeat because the pentatonic can't be symmetrical. Okay, so every pentatonic has 5 modes. So I wanted to reduce all the possibilities to some kind of like basic pentatonics, or you can also call them in Turkish makam music. You say like ana, I think ana makamlar. I mean like basit makamlar or ana makamlar. That means like I'm actually not sure whether in that context, but for example, for ana rhythm, yeah, like mother rhythms. So you can say, okay, that's the mother pentatonic. That's there where all these other are coming from. Yeah, so that's the idea. So you can call them mother pentatonic. So you have like one pentatonic, and that's sort of your basic pentatonic. So you can say, for example, a good idea would be just to take the major pentatonic, because it's so common, and say, okay, that's my mother pentatonic. But this also means I have like 5 different modes I can have. Or you say like basic pentatonics or root pentatonics or something like that. It really actually it doesn't matter. It's just the idea of always grouping 5 different pentatonics together, because they are just modes of each other. Okay, so, and when you do that, at the end you come up with 66 different ones. Yeah, 66 different 66 different like mother pentatonics. And that's important, because all these 66 mother pentatonics, or all basic pentatonics, you have to multiply them by 5 to get them all. Okay, but you can I mean, that's an enormous number, of course, but it will reduce quite quickly as we move on here. Just stay tuned. Now, how did we arrange these pentatonics now into larger groups? I have like 2 pages here, 2 pages of pentatonics, and you have that all in the PDF also, and you should really download that. Then you really have it, and of course, that's actually today's lesson is more like I want to give you that PDF where you have all these possibilities that you don't have to get there yourself and find out and do this whole process of getting that information in a way, and you can really trust this source here because I'm really accurate with these things. So so it's actually about this list, about this PDF that you get that, and I'm just explaining what's on it, so that you know what how to deal with that and how to use it for yourself. Okay, there are like the first 3 groups here. They are for mostly, we can say we will not consider them too much. Like the first group is just one pentatonic, and this is just the chromatic scale, you can say, like 5 notes, like they're all like separated by half step. So C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. And of course, this has 5 modes, 5 different modes. This scale, it's a pentatonic scale, but yeah, it will always come down to this chromatic field there, and this is like the characteristic thing there. I think it will be hard to really make nice music with that, or write a piece with that. Because you always have to deal with this chromatic zone, yeah. And this will, of course, if you want that sound, that's great. Then take it, yeah. Take this pentatonic, work it out, work melody, do melodies, and then you will come up with a certain thing which it will not sound as traditional. So it's also a way how to use that, to come up with extreme or very exotic pentatonics, and then try to make them work musically. And they're really all structured there, so you really easily you find what you want. Next group would be just moving like 3 half steps, yeah, and we have 6 different pentatonics. So you have 3 half steps. So 4 notes are in a kind of chromatic cluster, and then you have like added notes there. like one note added to that. Then you have this, the next group is like two half steps. So this chromatic, either you call this chromatic, yeah, C, C sharp, D would be chromatic because you use it C twice, C, C sharp, D. But we also talked about the chromatic triad. And if you don't know what I mean with that, you can also go back to the three note structures. With a chromatic triad, I mean actually a triad, which is not chromatic in a way, because I take the middle note as a root, and above and below this middle note is a half step, but I call this, I name these other notes with also taking other tones, like other natural notes. So for example, a C is my root, and then the chromatic triad would be B, C, half step to C, but with another note, and a kind of a B goes to kind of a C, and then from C I go to a kind of a D, I go a half step to D flat. So B, C, D flat. And that's a chromatic triad. And why the middle note? Because if this is used in a musical, maybe more traditional way, when you have this constellation of two half steps, always the middle note is the core pillar of the whole thing, either like a chord tone or like a tone of the tonal framework, and the other bring tension to that. Otherwise, it would be like chromatic. If you have like C, C sharp, D, it would be it would sound. I mean, this how you name it. You also this is also a sound which is implied. So if you go like la da 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 ba ba da da, that's chromatic. Da ba da, you go ba ba da 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 da, that's chromatic. But if I sing like da di da 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 ba ba di di ba da 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 ba da da da, yeah, I create tension with these outer notes, and my middle note is my resolution, and that doesn't really sound as chromatic, hopefully. Okay, anyway, we go further now. Now we come to the three groups which are, I think, most relevant. If we take a heptatonic scale, just a normal scale, a normal like Dorian, Phrygian, or harmonic major, or whatever, a 7-note scale which have every scale degree, yeah, C, any kind of a C, any kind of a D, E, F, and so on. In these normal scales, we have 21 different pentatonics. So in a C major scale, for example, you can make up 21 pentatonics, and you can also sing differently, like complementary. You can say, okay, I have 21 different intervals from every note of the scale. I can either have a second or a third or a fourth. If I go higher to the fifth, it's already an inversion. So it brings me nothing new, no new interval, or no new combination of notes, because I had that already. And two notes, of course, plus 5 is 7. So if you have a 7-note scale and you eliminate 2 notes, or you omit 2 notes, you come up with a pentatonic scale. So it's like, these are complementary in a 7-note scale. Anyway, you can group these 21 pentatonic scales into 3 different families. So 3 times 7. Yeah, on every scale degree of this 7-note scale, you can have 3 different families, 3 different basic structures. You can say you can have a Penta chord, just going C, D, E, F, G. You can say I have a normal 7th chord. yeah, normal seventh chord, like tertian harmony, like stacking up thirds, but a second degree is added. So from C, it would be the seventh chord, would be C, E, G, B, and then I add a D. So my pentatonic would be C, D, E, G, B. Or the other family is, or group is seventh chord, just a plain seventh chord again, and adding a fourth degree. So C, D, C, E, and then adding an F, and then going on with a seventh chord, G, B. C, E, F, G, B. Every other note, note combination in that scale would be just a inversion of that that structure. Yeah, so if you, I mean, what I said, like every pentatonic can have like 5 modes. So if you have a penta chord, for example, you can also start with a second note and say, this is my root of my new pentatonic. And then you start, and then you go like scale-wise tetrachord, and then a leap of a perfect fourth comes. And then after the perfect fourth, or after the fourth in general, another second comes to close the octave, and then you're back again. So it looks quite different then, but still these different, all the modes are really related because they share the same intervallic structure. Of course, they have another point of gravity, yeah, like a tonal center is different, so they sound, of course, different. Every pentatonic has a very different sound, so 66 pentatonics times 5, they all sound different, yeah, so it's a lot actually. But as I said, if you can arrange a pentatonic in a circle, yeah, you can just go around. I mean, with every structure, you can just start with C and then go on the scale and end with C. And if you take the pentatonic, actually clockwise would be in that direction. If you see there, so C, D, E, G, A, C. Yeah, then you have like your major pentatonic, and then you can just wherever you can start wherever and call this a C, and then of course all notes change, but the structure of the circle stays. So in that respect, it's one sound, yeah, one structure. And of course, if you have all these different modes of the major pentatonic, they all sound different, but they share also some very important qualities. And that is, for example, that they don't have any chromatic, that they even don't have any half step. Yeah, that's one very important thing here. Okay, so remember, we have in a normal heptatonic scale, we have 3 different families of pentatonic scales. Penta chords, 7th chords plus 2, or 9th you can say. I say plus 2 because I'm thinking scale-wise, not a chord. Or 7th chord plus 4, 4th degree. These are the remaining families for our 66 pentatonic scales. Yeah, they all do not have any chromatic. I mean, those here. Be careful because sometimes these groups overlap. Sometimes you have to know, okay, if I have for example, if I have a major 7th chord and I add a flat 2, then I have also already like a chromatic triad or chromatic there, yeah, B, C, D flat. So I will not find this structure in the category of 7th chord plus a 2. I will find it in the category where I have like 2 half steps following each other. Yeah. This might be confusing, but the idea is really to find like these find concepts how to arrange them in a very like in a very systematic way, that we really find certain features which are really obvious, and we can just then put it in that group. And I think like finding like like two half steps, like this chromatic triad thing. If we detect that, then we detect it very quick, very easily, and then we see, okay, it belongs into that group. And where is it? Okay, it's that one. Yeah, and also it's a very like a prominent feature. This having these two half steps, this chromatic triad. Yeah, this is something you will definitely, it will definitely have a huge impact on the sound, and like what you do with that musically. It's really, you have to deal with that. That's a very special thing in comparison to the others, which don't have that. Okay, so the next, we can also say we have these three groups, Penta Chords, 7th chords plus 2, 7th chords plus 4, and but we excluded all those structures which actually have two half steps following each other. And all these you see there, and they also have names. Yeah, of course they have names. They have like just these two groups, 7th chord plus 4, 7th chord plus 2. They just have these names. Yeah, it's actually more scientific. I don't call this like Hindol or Tori Bhupal or like Bhupali or whatever, like giving all these Indian raga Hindustani names, or like minor pentatonic or major pentatonic. That's already a kind of a name where we know, okay, that's sound. It's more like a scientific name, because this scientific name is more suited for just that we easily can recognize a structure, we can detect the structure, we know in which family that belongs, and also later on we can put like any name to that, and we can say, for example, the minor pentatonic is actually a minor seventh chord with an added fourth, we can say. Now the minor pentatonic also implies the major pentatonic. And you will not find this major pentatonic, the name or the major pentatonic from C, you will not find on this page. But when you look at it, you will detect the structure. You will detect, okay, there are no half steps. I mean, there are also no half steps, but there are no minor seconds following each other. Okay, then these categories, they will not work there. Is it like a pentachord? Can I arrange the notes in a kind of a scalar way, in a scale, like scale degrees? No, I can't. I have these thirds there. They're happening. Okay. All right. So there are just two possibilities. Either it's 7th chord plus 2 or 7th chord plus 4. And then I can just check these chords, and it will be just one family, one category will actually work. All right, I hope that is clear. I also, when I wrote out all these pentachords, all these possibilities there, all these families, I also, in brackets, there are also scientific names. When you go to one lesson, maybe I also put the link down in the description below, to the 33 regular scales. We took like very simple, very musically related rules to build scales, and we come up with 33 different scales. And actually these 33 different scales, you don't need any more. Yeah, maybe some little exceptions, but these are really the scales used in this in like more European in Western music. Yeah. Then of course you have others, but then you can also apply other rules, and they break certain rules, and that also gives you a different sound. So if you want to stay in a certain kind of a Western comfortable sound zone that you don't think, "Whoa, that's very strange. What is that?" That it's like everything is you understand. Then then you deal with these 33 different scale usually, and these scales are grouped into also different families. So many families we have. Amazing, it's cool. So we have like the major scale modes, it's MA, and then just the numbers are added for the different modes there. MA1 is just Ionian, the first mode of major, the major scale. Then we have these melodic minor, MMI. Then we have harmonic minor, HMI. Then we have harmonic major, HMA. And then we have these three symmetrical scales. Whole tone is just WT, whole tone. Then we have half tone, whole tone, HW. And we have symmetrical augmented, S and an A for augmented. Yeah, and of course all these scales also have different modes. So the whole tone has just one mode, of course, but symmetrical augmented has two modes, and the half tone whole tone scale has also another mode, the whole tone half tone scale. So it would be HW2. And that's assigned to each pentachord. So you also and sometimes you have more places for them. Yeah, you have, this is like this pentachord you find on that degree of that scale and on that degree of another scale. So you also see in which scales, very quick, in which scales you find those pentachords. Yeah, so they're in a way like analyzed already to give you this connection. Okay, there are two more pentachords which doesn't fit into the 33 regular scales, but yeah, these are kind of exceptions, so to speak. And when you play them, you also understand maybe why. Okay, and the other two categories are just, as I said, just a seventh chord plus an added 4, or a seventh chord plus an added 2, and the name is just that. Yeah, so it's a C major chord with an added 2, or this is an A minor 7 flat 5 chord with an added 4. Yeah, so that's a terminology here, and these are, as I said, these are just like scientific basic names, and you can just I mean, there are all these different pentatonics. You can just assign to one of these basic scientific forms. Yeah, so the major pentatonic is something like musical, or Bhupali as an Indian raga music, you call that. It's music, but to know where that belongs into all possibilities of pentatonic scales, you have that sheet, and you have a scientific name for that. And in this case, it would be like C minor 7 plus 4. Now, you have all these possibilities of pentatonic scales, but actually you have just 3 of them. Of course, everyone has its own, has 5 modes, but there are only 3 pentatonics which have no half steps. Yeah, that's some people say that's really like the characteristic of a pentatonic. For many people, it's a scale without half steps, or it's a major scale, but you omit the 2 notes, and then you don't have half steps anymore. And that's a certain kind of a sound, of course. Yeah, to exclude half steps, you have a certain kind of a sound you're dealing with, and that's kind of very special. And there are just 3 of them, you know. So you have this major minor pentatonic. That's one. Then you have a kind of a minor pentatonic where you instead of the minor 7th, you have the major 6th. That would be one. And the other one would be just like in a way like just whole tone scale, and you just omit one note. So you have like all major seconds, and then there's just one major third. So these are all the possibilities. So if you want to compose, if you want to compose something with this more with this kind of a quality where you don't have any half steps, and this is a kind of a quality, of course, then you already know, okay, these pentatonics I can use. And that's something also you can also analyze the pentatonics. For example, you wanna find all pentatonics which have a major triad in it. You can also use a sheet. Yeah, you can also start with C and E and G and just go down the whole page and see where can I find this structure. And this you do for every chord, of course. And then you have all the pentatonics which have a major triad in that. It takes a while, of course. Yeah, it's for that definitely, but because there is that structure, and that's already reduced to the kind of basic forms, you will be actually quite quick by going through. What did we have? Like if you have this equation, we come up with 792 possibilities. Yeah, and to check 792 would be quite a challenge. Also to first find out all these 792. And there they are, and there they are structured for you, so you can easily approach that. Another thing, it's also written there, just in general, what you have to consider when dealing with pentatonic scales, that a pentatonic scale contains 10 intervals, 10 diads are possible, 10 different 3-note structures. Of course, they are like complementary. A diad and a 3-note structure together can be like the pentatonic, yeah? Or a 3-note structure also equals the 2-note structure in a pentatonic of notes which you don't play, and vice versa. And you have 5 different 4-note structures. Yeah, just putting one note out, omitting one note, you end up with a 4-note structure. Yeah, and these structures, 2-note, 3-note, 4-note structures, we also talked a lot, also in a very practical way, and different exercises, melodic, harmonic, different possibilities of voicings and everything. We talked about that in the previous courses here also on Guitar Academia. So I think more and more you will understand this whole structure and how it will also unfold in a way that you're really in a way that you're not searching around and try to find something and oh, this is a pentatonic, oh, interesting. Of course, at the end it is like that because you can only deal with one pentatonic at a time, but having this kind of systematic order and to really know where things belong, it's more like the whole thing becomes more structured, and you much more easily you can deal with all these possibilities. Yeah, if somebody tells me, oh, I in this culture they have this pentatonic and it's going like C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, interesting. That's a third category. It has these 2 half steps. Where can I find it? Ah, okay, it's that one. Okay, there it belongs, and that's makes it special. These 2 half steps also, and I understand where that belongs, even if I never played it, and even if it's very weird and like very strange. Everybody would say, oh, this is not a pentatonic scale. What is that? Then yeah, you don't exclude anything. You know, you take everything and you put it in a nice order, in a nice system, in a nice shelf, and that way you can easily approach that and easily deal with that and work with that. Yeah, so that's actually the thing here also with these pentatonic scales. And for me, for example, it was a kind of a surprise, maybe not. 66 pentatonic scales are quite a lot actually, and I expected that. But to just have these three different pentatonic scales, which doesn't have half steps. Of course, you can also come to that with just building a scale and excluding a half step. But this was just a byproduct, and I was really happy to know that, because also this pentatonic scale, which only uses like whole step and a major third, is kind of it's like a whole tone scale without one note. One note is missing, so the quality is always like having augmented triads and this kind of a tonality. So I would actually also not really consider that scale too much, and then I will just end up with these two pentatonics which I already knew and played a lot, like the minor or major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic with the sixth, major sixth instead of the minor sevenths. Yeah, so these are really like this kind of a quality is really like only these two pentatonics have that kind of a quality. Yeah. Also, they don't have any major third inside. So you can also really analyze these pentatonics for its 10 intervals, and then you also get like kind of interesting informations and get a. We did this histogram thing also for this 3-note structures and 4-note structures, where we really analyzed all intervals in one 4-note structure. Yeah, there are always 6 or 3 different intervals in a 3-note structure, and that gives us also a kind of a DNA or a kind of a fingerprint, yeah, where we can say, okay, these structures, they don't have a major third. These have the tritone, and these don't have a tritone. And this, yeah, that's about sound, about structuring the different structures or note combinations by sound, and store them away or store them in a nice, neat, ordered shelf. Okay, and there's another page where, as I said in the beginning, where you have some pentatonics with their names of Hindustani raga, or it's not much. Don't expect much. It's more about this. The PDF is really more about all these 66 scales that you have them on 2 sheets. All right, so that's it. I hope it's helpful, this kind of thinking, this kind of structure for your own musical development and thinking and progress. If you like those lessons here on Guitar Academia, please subscribe to my channel and also click the bell button to get notifications when a new video will be released, which is the case here every week. And also you can support this channel. Just go down in the description below on the link to my website, hoophildenbrand.com, the Guitar Academia page there. You have a button where you can also donate to get more involved here and to make this thing really work. And I'm quite happy here with this channel, and I also learn a lot myself, and I really enjoy the stuff to share here on this platform. And yeah, I hope you stay tuned. Thanks for watching. My name is Hoop Hildenbrand.